what we're going to do next and that is I mentioned it last night. I felt like a general manager who had unlimited draft picks. And so we drafted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20. Then there was more people to draft to be part of this. So we drafted 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And so we had to figure out a way to give all these accomplished people some time. Each of these people is going to give about 5 minutes. Again, we're so grateful for Kimberly. She's been our point person for this pre-event, during the event. She's going to hold everybody to 5 minutes, okay? But we're going to just hear their stories. We don't have any script, and we're going to have them walk up on stage. I'm going to hand this mic over, but what a group of accomplished people, and it's just overwhelming to look at these people and all they've accomplished. So they'll share their Clemson story and where they're at in life.
I'm a salesman, and I got to be out here by 1 o'clock, and that means I'm playing golf with Peter, my young son here, is a senior, or graduated just now. And first off, my grandfather, father, 4 uncles, 3 of which started IPTAY in 1934, and my older sister, all my cousins, my 2 sons, me, all went to Clemson. That's my story. Anything else? So a couple things you need to hear, young students, is you're going to get fired, you're going to fail. I've been fired from most every single job I've had for a lot of different reasons. Bank of America bought MBNA, and they wanted to change the strategy of taking the Clemson MasterCard, take the Tiger Paw off, and put Bank of America on it. Not a good move. When George Steiner got his new New York Yankees Bank of America card, and it was Bank of America, and took off George Steinbrenner, all zeros and a 1, he wasn't happy about that. So what's going to happen in your career? It's like surfing. If you've ever body surfed or whatever, waves will come along. Some of them you'll catch, some will catch you. And when it happens, what do? Get up, get another, start over again. And so what you'll do is learn from it. My first job was cleaning toilets in a pharmacy in 9th grade, and I didn't do a very good job of that. And so they told me the day I was going to start out for baseball that I needed to leave. My mom said, "Did you tell them you're quitting for baseball?" I said, "Nah," but they told me. So you'll find opportunities like Peter Angelos will show up and buy the team, and you'll get a whole season ticket list from the Orioles. Like Jim will tell you that story if you want to hear it from him, but you'll fail. My career, I started out as a chemical engineer with a company called DuPont in Wilmington, Delaware, moved 11 times in my 20s, that experience. And they were going to fire me because the oil price went from $30 to $15 that year, 1982. And moved me to pharmaceuticals, where I learned to be a salesman. If you've been in the pharmaceutical business, you have 5 minutes to talk, actually 30 seconds. How am I doing? 30 seconds to convince a doctor that your drug's better than the other, and you learn how to sell. So I did that, wound up as director of sales and marketing, got my MBA at Wharton, and went into the credit card business. And what we did there was sell consumers on carrying a credit card. And my boss got pissed, as I think I told last night, because I signed all my memos, "Go Tigers." So he called me and said, "What is this, Go Tigers?" He was in the Georgetown Glee Club, and he'd been getting beat up all his whole life by athletes. He was a choir guy. He's going, "What is this sports stuff? I don't like sports." I'm going, "Well, you know what 250 million people do every first Sunday in February?" And he's going, "No." I said, "They sit down and watch this thing called the Super Bowl." And he's going, "No, they don't." And I said, "Yes, they do." And I said, "You like cars, don't you?" And he's going, "Yeah." I said, "You ever heard of NASCAR?" He's going, "What's NASCAR?" I said, "It's this sport where they drive stock cars around the track, and it's a lot of fun." He's going, "You're kidding me." So I introduced him to a guy I went to my church in Mooresville, North Carolina, named Dale Earnhardt. They became great friends, and the rest is history. So what'll happen when one failure comes along, keep driving, another one will show up. But be ready to push back on whatever your agenda is. So what I did is I said, "Let me go get Clemson." Clemson credit card at the time, they put Sykes Hall. Anybody know what Sykes Hall is? You love going to Sykes Hall? No. You know why? That's where you get your parking tickets paid. If you get in really bad trouble, which Jim probably did a couple of times, you go talk to the dean of what a behavior or something and say, "Hey, you can't stay out, can't do this, can't do whatever." Sykes Hall, and in our fraternity, we used to say, we had a bumper sticker, we sold a lot of them, said, "Happiness is Sykes Hall in your rearview mirror," because you were headed to Myrtle Beach after exams. And we sold a lot of bumper stickers that. And I said, "Why in the world would you put Sykes Hall on a credit card to try to sell?" So I played golf with Bobby Robinson, went over to the athletic department and said, Bobby, how much? He's going, how much for what? And I said, I need a tiger paw to put on this credit card. And he goes, 100 grand. I said, 50 grand. He said, 60. I said, okay. I went back, almost got fired again for doing this deal with the Clemson Athletic Department to put the tiger paw on the Clemson MasterCard. We bought the portfolio from South Carolina State Bank. And the first year, I think we put on 60,000 accounts. Next year, we put on 100,000 accounts. We started making Clemson $5 million. So I've been fired more recently by the Phillies and my other clients because the PayPal, the company I had them set with. So I'm 66 years old, one more time, back down talking to John Collins, Michael Drake, Jim, whoever will listen to me about why we should put the Clemson Tiger Paw back on a MasterCard. Because guess what Delta makes every year from the American Express Sky Miles? Anybody heard of that program? You've all got a Delta Sky Miles program, at least a lot of adults in here. When you get out of college and get a job, you'll get a credit card. So what happens, and with the trivia question, am I good on time? What I got? 2 seconds. Guess how much Delta gets paid by American Express for the Delta Sky Miles card per year? $7 billion with a B. So if you're looking to go into sports, look at every naming rights on every sports entity. Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo. So think about where Michael Drake's going to make all his money. Sponsorships. Who are the sponsors? So I think John Collins' wife, you want to stand up and say, hey, to get in sports, what should you do? Trust me, if you show up with $1 million or 10 million and you want to buy a sponsorship, they'll sell it to you. Good luck.
Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Mader, class of 1990. I have an industrial engineering degree, and I'm class of 95, Florida State, law degree. My journey is a little bit different. I was a former athlete here, played 86 through 90, walked on, got my head beat in for a couple of years, and ultimately started on special teams and got a couple letters and kind of really found my real love of the whole sports process there. Went to law school because I thought, all right, well, 35 guys I went to, played with, they made it to the NFL. I said, I can be a player agent. And that kind of got shot down pretty quickly because really couldn't find an agency that was really to take me on. So I said, and then I interviewed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the guy there said, you're overqualified for any job I could ever offer for you. So go to the other side of the table. So I took it on myself. I sent out my resume to every single professional team in the United States. And I got about 10 replies back. So I ended up working in arena football for Jim. And he didn't even know that till the other day. And then, and with Paul DiPodesto, who was one of the sources for the Moneyball. And then I went from arena football to Canadian football to minor league baseball to Major League Baseball. I did the '96 Olympics, and kind of found my pathway there that you really, it's just kind of crazy. And from baseball, I sold a huge season ticket package to a company, a sports company, ultimately turned out with. They owned the rights to the product called Go, which was created by Dr. Kane, who created Gatorade. So I ended up started with them, and then started at the bottom, and ultimately about 2 months in, I found out our president was embezzling all the money, and I got my attorney buddies, and we fired his butt out of there and took over the company and ran it, and ultimately had about 80% market share on the sports side of it, with the college and professional teams utilizing our product and winning national championships. Subsequent to that, kind of got into the whole startup industry, and currently I'm running the Fan Engine, which is a managed services platform for NIL clients and entertainment clients and charitable organizations. And I know it's kind of like a lot. It's a lot to take in, but this whole process. But one thing you could probably take from this is who you meet along the way can really open up a lot of doors. The networking side of this is amazing in terms of the people that you know, because once you learn what you need to learn here at school, it doesn't matter unless you find somebody that's willing to help you open that door. So take advantage of that networking opportunity, because it can make it'll make all the difference in the world for you from that standpoint. So good luck with everything. Take advantage of it all.
Good afternoon. My name is Josh Reed, class of 1999. Graduated here from Clemson with a degree in horticulture. And so my whole journey throughout my life led me into going into the seed business, working with a company called Pennington Seed, worked my way up the ladder there to all the way to corporate and helping divisions develop what they needed to do to go talk to farmers, go sell other products to turf grass and other operations in the sporting world. From that standpoint, I got to a point where I didn't know what I was going to do next. And one of my buddies that I went to Clemson with, he was an AGR with me here at Clemson. He went to go work for Under Armour on the Under Armour outdoor division, work for Kevin Plank, and really build that from ground zero. They needed somebody from the South that could speak the language to the Bass Pros, Gabellas, and really, I had no experience. I came from a agriculture background, getting into the apparel world. You know, surrounding yourself, being a part around the Division I athletes, all those guys with great talent, it really exudes when you surround yourself and you get side by side with those great people. I did that for 7 years. And then we had a group within the company that said, we can do something a little bit better. We want to talk to the fishing athlete a lot more. We can do that 12 months out of the year. You don't just have, you can only hunt, you know, only so many months out of the year. And so we formed a company. The parent company is called Maryland Outdoor. The brands underneath that are Hook Performance Fishing and Nomad Outdoor on the camo side. So really got to do some fun things, work there. I just left back in March, 11 years in that stint. But the key component was having fun, surround yourself with good people, and never take no for an answer. And when you do that and you're surrounded with a great group of people, the drive will continue to occur. I look at it now, you know, my relationships that I've built along the road have what's carried me to this point in my life. So agriculture, going into the apparel world, building great apparel for great brands. And then as of late, my brother and I have gotten back together, really working we bought a company called Marsh Hen Mill, and we do heritage heirloom grains. So we're all about being flavor seekers. So you'll see us in restaurants, you'll see us in Whole Foods, you'll see us in Harris Teeter and Publix, but really bringing something that's on a plate to bring that goodness is what you know, when you eat every day. But, you know, we have a great team. They have a lot of energy, but how can I bring my experience to help develop the people that are surrounded by me? So, you know, just surround yourself with great people. That's all I can say. And with this network and with the Clemson family, everybody's willing to open up and express, come on in. I'll help you out and be a mentor. So anything that I could ever do for you, the team is, you know, they have my information, and I'm always happy to help and talk to mentor anybody that is willing to do so. So.
Hey, everybody. My name is Mike Eccles, and I'm going to tell my sports story. My sports story started with a simple question. Mike, would you like to go play golf? And I was 7 years old at the time. I'll never forget it. Mr. Halsey, down my neighbor, and hit my first golf shot on the 7th hole of the East 9 at Farmington Country Club in Charlottesville, Virginia. Fast forward, I'm 15 years old. I'm the Virginia State Junior Champion. And only been done by 2 other people at that time, at that age, and that was Curtis Strange and Lanny Watkins. For anybody who knows those names, they both went on to be major champions. And next year, I had the opportunity to go to California to go to school. I wouldn't recommend that, but one of the great things about that experience was I have a sister who is 16 years older than I am, and I never knew her. She was living in San Francisco at the time, and I got this opportunity to really know my sister. And so don't ever leave family out of the equation in your journey. Fast forward, I'm 18. I come out here to Boscobel Golf Course. Mr. Bobby Robinson is walking off the green. My sister and I meet him. Mr. Robinson and I speak for a few minutes. He knew I was coming. But we go back home. 6 days later, I've got a handwritten letter from Mr. Robinson who says, Mike, we'd love for you to come play for Clemson. And the answer, of course, was yes. And played for Bobby. Played for Larry Penley. Larry also sent me a letter that said my golf days were over, which was fine. But then I got involved in campus. I was also an AGR. That's where I met my wife. We've been married for 40 years as of June 1st. And she said yes, right? And we said yes to each other. Then I had this opportunity to go and build a golf course. You talk about a phenomenal experience. And the part of that I'm going to share, particularly for you students, any chance that you get to manage people is so critical to your development. And I don't mean manage people, I mean to grow relationships with people. It's one thing to tell somebody what to do, but it's another thing to know them and to grow with them and work with them. So build this golf course, and I get another phone call. It's one of my fraternity brothers. He says, hey, you want to come start a business in Clemson? Another yes. Then I got called by the Lord to come to him, and I said yes. So I sold my interest in business. I became a youth minister here at Pendleton United Methodist Church. That was wonderful, except tired eating bread, pretty tight on the finances. So I started another business. And then the phone rang, and it was Gary Wade, who's the longtime director of facilities over at Clemson Athletics, and said, Mr. Robinson would like to know if you're interested in applying for a job at Clemson and being the director of athletic grounds. And the answer was yes. And so for the last 22 years, I've been the director of athletic grounds over at Clemson. A remarkable experience, the things that I've been able to do. But what I want you all to understand, particularly you students, as you're in here today, there are some remarkable people sitting in this room. As I sat here last night and heard these folks introduce themselves, it was like, wow, it's amazing. And so when you go up, and for some of you that may be a little difficult, you got to get outside of your shadow. You maybe step outside of your comfort zone. And when you go up and speak to these folks and they say, are you interested in an internship? What's the answer? Yes, right? Can you send me your resume? Yes. Okay. I think and so don't be intimidated because of what they've done and the things they've done. They are here to help you. And in my current role with Clemson Athletics, I'm a mentor. And so if I can ever help any of you, I'd love to. I'm very honored to be here today and just spend a few minutes with you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Walsh. I graduated in 2024, so not that long ago. A little bit of background on me. I was captain of the women's rowing team during my time here. I was also two-time president of the student athlete body, which is referred to as SAC. Through that opportunity, I was connected to our athletic director, and he hand-selected athletes to be part of a student athlete leadership team. Also during that time, I was connected to the ACC as a student athlete leader, and Commissioner Phillips came to speak with the group, and he handed out his cell phone number. So the day after, I gave him a call and I said, my resume is in your inbox and you're going to give me an internship. And he said, okay. And so I ended up holding a role at the ACC in external operations, seeing very different facets of the business all over the place, as well as holding an internship at Clemson Athletics in NIL and athletic administration. Since I've graduated, I got connected to the founder of 98 Strong, who was trying to build a team to build out a brand. 98 Strong is one of the fastest growing third-party NIL facilitators. We have over 32,000 NCAA athletes on our platform, ranging from over 1,000 universities, every single division, in every single NCAA sponsored sport. So during my time at 98 Strong, not only have we been able to help athletes build their brands, but also connect with brands and facilitate those NIL deals. It goes a lot deeper than a sponsored social media post, and I'm happy after this to answer any questions that anyone has. In terms of Clemson University and how I can make an impact for the students here now, I had one person, which was Graham Neff, who really made a direct impact on, he was like, what do you want to do? Like, just figure it out and go for it. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to send 1,000 LinkedIn messages and 1,000 emails, and you're never going to get a response. But if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to figure out what could be. So I guess my biggest advice is slide into the LinkedIn DMs, ask them if they have 5 minutes to talk about their career and how they got where they got, because oftentimes those conversations turn into, well, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Who can I connect you to? That's all I got. If you have any questions, I'll be here all day. So happy to help, happy to connect on LinkedIn. Again, it's Julia Walsh. Connect with me, and I'll direct you to the right person. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Rick Christ. It's a real pleasure for me to be with you, and thought I'd give you just enough about my personal background before really wanted to leave you with three thoughts, really building off so much of what we heard today. I've been a college sports lifer, Midwesterner growing up. Went to Notre Dame, played baseball there, worked at the Naval Academy 3 years, went back, got a law degree back when sports law was just becoming a thing, and then got into college sports on the conference side. So worked 3 years in Dallas, the old Southwest Conference, 7 years at the ACC during the 90s. My first introduction to Clemson, tremendous. 10 years as commissioner of the Mid-American Conference, and for the last 15 have had a sports law practice, which has been as much consulting as it is lawyering. And certainly over that span of time, I've just seen the business of college sports change fundamentally. I will say conference work gives you a macro lens, and so probably I've overseen 50, 60 some programs directly, touched probably 100 of them. And not to sound like a paid political ad, but what's happening here at Clemson, like it's real. Like you guys have access and opportunity at the very top end here. So I wouldn't discount that. And I'd really encourage you to put yourself out. In terms of three messages to leave you with, or three thoughts, I think I'm the 19th speaker you've heard from today, and everyone's journey is different. And as you prepare for an interview or you put yourself out there, like trust your journey, because everyone's got one and none of them are the wrong one. It's yours. So really spend time thinking about what you care about, what drives your passion, and what makes you unique and distinctive. And I'm telling you, that will connect. The second thing is, as I think about the business, there's never been more opportunity and it's never been more competitive. So I think the ability to probably search in parallel lanes, to be open to opportunities, especially in your 20s, I'm telling you, you cannot make a bad decision. And with as fast as the world's moving, like there is no single path. So don't be afraid to jump. Like get in there. You can learn from bad leaders. You can learn from good leaders. For sure you will grow. And the final piece, and I think this is sort of reflective a little bit, but there will be moments of truth in your career, sort of where the road is one path or the other. It might be an ethical decision. It might be a decision where the company's going, but there will be that moment of truth where you have to make a choice. And to have clarity on your North Star, to know what matters to you, the values that are important to you, will only equip you when you have to make that choice, because you're not going to get a do-over on it. Like it will set you on a path. And so to anticipate that, to be ready for it, and then to trust it. So it's great being with you. I hope there's a chance to meet one-on-one afterwards, and just thankful for Kimberly, everyone involved with the symposium here. It's excellent.
Hey guys, Rob Temple. I'm part of your extended family through my wife who went here and absolutely loved and adored Clemson. I'm also kind of local. I live in Travelers Rest, or Tiara, as we call it locally. I live on a horse and cattle farm, and I am your poster child for what's possible. I'm a guy that grew up with limited resources, didn't know anybody, parents didn't know anybody, brothers were missionaries, paid my way through school. I went to another ACC school in North Carolina in Chapel Hill and was very fortunate. And I focused on a number of things. I wanted to be passionate about what I did, and I wanted to figure out what I was good at, but I had no idea. I was a poli-sci major and somehow got in the sports and media industry, stumbled into it, worked in it for a couple years selling stuff, and realized this could be a career. And so from a guy with limited resources, no networking opportunities like this, didn't know anybody, parents didn't know anybody, brothers were missionaries in like Sarajevo and Tajikistan, figured out by working really hard, by being curious, by asking questions, and by constantly listening and asking what problems people were trying to solve, I figured out how to apply my unique gifts and talents to those opportunities. So here's a guy with no opportunity, right? Very limited opportunity, worked really hard, ends up working on 6 Olympics, worked for ESPN for 20 years. I'm the guy that transformed College Game Day from presented by Discover Card to built by the Home Depot, developed the Heisman House for Nissan, the commercial architect of March Madness and the NCAA championships of the last 25 years, designed the commercial architecture for the BCS and CFP, negotiated all those deals, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Dr. Pepper and the trophies, blah, 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 all that stuff. Like fun, but work, right? Work. But I'll tell you one story about listening and asking what problem you're trying to solve. I get to ESPN, I'm there for a month, right? And the president brings me in, he goes, hey, we got a problem. Discover Card is dropping the show called College Game Day. Can you just throw a deck together and let's go see some people? And I'm like, sounds good. I said, can I do something first? He said, yeah. I said, I want to go up to Bristol and meet with the producer of the show. And I went up there, he's like, nobody comes to talk to me. Sales is just an organized retreat. You guys are a pain in my butt. I don't want to do anything you want to do. And I was like, just tell me what would make the show better. Tell me your friction points. Tell me what problems you're trying to solve. What would make the show better? And Mark Gross, the producer, tells me, I don't own my own desk. I'm borrowing a desk from other shows to go on the road. The sponsor signed one of my talent, Corso, but not the other two. They're salty and pissed off in meetings. I'm renting trailers for the talent for the green room before the show. I don't have a Jumbotron, so the talent are like this with the fans. The talent are talking to the camera. How good is that? So a Jumbotron would be great. Like there's all this stuff he didn't have. And I said, great, if I can get you all that stuff, will you do a couple things for me? And he was like, dude, if you can get me all that stuff, I'll unlock whatever. So I create College Game Day built by the Home Depot, put it all together. I go ask Home Depot for 10 million instead of 5 million that Discover paid. I also tell them, you got to give me an extra 2 million production subsidy because I got to build a desk, I got to rent a coach, I got to buy a couple Jumbotrons, I got to do a demo field, I got to sign the talent, blah, blah, blah. And you know what the CMO of Home Depot said? Awesome. That sounds great. Like literally in the meeting, the agency's like freaking out. But it started with listening. It started with being curious. It started with trying to figure out what problem he was trying to solve. And ultimately, what's better content, what's better for the fan. You guys are at Clemson. Like you're on the top edge of everything. What they're doing here, what Graham and the team are doing here is unbelievable at a time when the entire ecosystem is being disrupted. So what you learn here, this networking creates unbelievable opportunities. I mean, if a kid like me can do this from Atlanta, like you guys are gold, I'm telling you. Like it's not hard, it's working hard, being curious, figuring out what problems you're trying to solve, and then just get after it. Always do the job ahead of you. Always do the job beyond what's expected, to the point where they go to you. I've never asked for a promotion in my life. People always came to me and said, hey man, we feel bad, we need you to do this now. Work hard, take advantage of this opportunity. Nothing could be better than having a Clemson background in this family network. And I'm part of your extended family, a Tar Heel, but adore and love Clemson. And I'm local. I run an agency now. We represent the CFP, ESPN, blah, 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 a bunch of stuff, do media consulting for scripts and negotiate media rights deals. All fun. But just enjoy what you do, figure out what you're good at, go in that direction, take advantage of Clemson and the networking there, and just have fun. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dean Williams, and unlike a lot of the distinguished people that are here, I don't have a full-time job in athletics. I'm a student, like many of you in the crowd. Currently, I'm an economics PhD student, but the reason I tricked them into letting me talk today is I work for the Clemson baseball team as a graduate analytics assistant. And my story in athletics is really just getting started, but I think it is going to resonate with a lot of you in the crowd insofar as I came into Clemson as an economics PhD first year, and I had no intention of working in sports. I was always interested in sports. I was interested in baseball, but coming here, I was like, hey, I would just love to come to Clemson, get out of my 5 years and get a job and go on and work wherever. And like a lot of the stories from the people that have told here, I got offered an internship and immediately was like, I had to do it. And probably like a lot of you here, that internship happened from a networking opportunity that I never expected myself to run into. But I actually was downtown here at Clemson celebrating one of my friends passing their dissertation defense. And I ran into one of the athletic directors who happened to oversee Clemson baseball. I told him a little bit about the work I was doing with my dissertation, which focuses on competitive balance policy in Major League Baseball. And he was like, well, we're starting this analytics group. Clearly you're interested in baseball. Is that something you would be interested in pursuing? And I was like, absolutely. How can I help out? So I came in 2 years ago and I started as an intern, and we had a lot of brilliant minds. Connor Moore, I'll talk here later, and he's sort of a mentor to me in that industry. But I started from the ground up, and I worked nights, weekends, holidays. I was up till 2 a.m. most nights during the spring, just trying to put together as good of a report as I could for the coaching staff. And most of what we do is putting together scouting reports and player development reports to help inform our coaches to make better decisions. And from my perspective, that was the dream. And I knew as soon as I took that internship that that was something I wanted to do going forward. And so I put more and more and more time, and probably less time, into my academic life than I should. But long story short, it has gotten me to where I am now, where this past summer I was able to work an internship with the Houston Astros in baseball operations. Fingers crossed I'll have a return offer coming from them shortly. But I've made all sorts of connections in the pro industry, from the Orioles to the Brewers and a couple of different organizations that have been reaching out to me to inquire about my services when I'm done here at Clemson. So I would say, if anything, the best advice I can give you is put yourself out there. There are tons of opportunities here at Clemson for you to crack into the sports industry. We're hiring right now for the Clemson Baseball Analytics Group. If you guys are interested, let me know after this. I'll be happy to give you guys the link to apply. But between that, between performance sports science, between a bunch of different opportunities that we have here at Clemson, there's plenty of opportunities for you to get involved in sports. And hopefully all of us will end up in the industry going forward. So thank you guys.
Hey, my name is Matt Moore. I'm the co-founder of Villar Boats. I'm here with my business partner and co-founder and longtime friend, Dustin Tupper. You were 2011, I believe. I was 2013. And we built a boat. So it's coming up in a second. But there's really humbled, oh, not yet, sorry. Yeah, we're super humbled to be here with all these amazing people, right? And we have something a little bit different of a story. We're on the front edge of the entrepreneurial journey, right? We haven't seen the successes yet, and we haven't seen, mergers and acquisitions, none of that, right? We are scrapping every day, right? We wake up with self-doubt. We are worried about, the low gas light on our bank account. That's where we currently are. So sorry to bum everybody out. Quickly about Villar Boats. Dustin and I grew up in Charleston. We're Mariners. That's what we've done our whole life since we were about 12. We both worked for Scout Boats for about 10 years, and I tricked Dustin into leaving a six-figure job for $0. So you're welcome. One thing that my one key takeaway that I want to give you guys, I get a quick story, and how does this wrap into sports, right? Before Clemson, I played football at a tiny little college in Tennessee called Sewanee. And I played personally in 40 football games at Sewanee. And I won 5 of them. We won our first 2. Adversity is inherent in me. And that meshes a lot with what we see every day, right? It meshes with, maybe I don't want to get out of bed today because I don't know if we're going to make it. So we scrap, we pull it together, and I go back and I think about all the good things, right? And what I remember is we won the last game, and my best friends are from there. So lean on your supports. Always keep grinding. I think that's been a huge theme, is grit. Because if you do, you get this.